Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing my 2023 favorites because it is the end of the year and I had I don't know, a couple favorites that I would really like to talk about, and if you get anything from this video, it's to read these books because they were my all-time favorite. And I'm going to give you a little disclaimer, and most of them are actually fantasy, which is shocking to me because I feel like I just started getting into fantasy, but I've really upped my game this year, and my TBR for next year is also filled with a lot more fantasy. So I'm gonna start this video now, and these books are in no particular order. These are literally all like 5 stars, a million stars if I could. So let's get started. So I think I'm gonna start with this stack, which is my smaller books. So the first book that I see is Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and if you guys have not seen this book on TikTok, if you have not seen the author circulating on TikTok, this is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is her debut novel, and when I tell you the hype around this book is so real, it's kind of like, it really does have a dystopian kind of vibe to it, if I will. People kind of says it gives Hunger Games, but I don't really see it. There's only a small trial that's like to the death, but I feel like that's not the whole plot of the book. I could be wrong, but basically she's an ordinary and the prince is obviously an elite, and they cross paths unwillingly, and obviously enemies to lovers, always wins, always superior. And I literally cannot wait for the sequel to come out in July, and I will be counting down those days. So book number 1 is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Okay, the next book is a fantasy trilogy. It's the Prison Healer trilogy by Lynette Nani, and when I tell you, this is like the cutest little YA fantasy. Like, there's nothing complex about the plot about these books, literally at all, but I was so emotionally invested in these characters, and when I tell you, I was not okay. So we have the Prison Healer, we have the Gilded Cage, and we have the Blood Trader. And if you want to dip your toes into fantasy, I think this trilogy is a really good place to start. Easy. Again, it's not complex. It's a very standard like plot line. Like, it's not too high fantasy. It's really easy to understand, and I'm obsessed with it, and I could talk about it for the rest of my life. Okay, the next book is a Lauren Asher book, because Lauren Asher, I think, honestly, she came out with 2 books this year. Final Offer, which was obviously chef's kiss, but the new one that I'm like obsessed with was Love Redesigned, and this one is also like enemies to lovers. As you can see, I'm a huge enemies to lovers gal. It's the trope for me. It's a superior trope. Like, if it's enemies to lovers, like, say less, I will read it. And there used to be childhood friends, like their families are friends, and their families have wanted them together forever, and they've actually always hated each other and always have been trying to like beat each other at their own game, and they have to work together for this fun little project, and they fall in love, and I fell in love. And Lauren Asher can never write a bad book, in my opinion. Like, I've read all of her books and I love all of them, and if I could include all of them in this video I would, but this is only for the year. So Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. This is another new release that literally just came out towards the end of the year, but it's The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy, and if you guys know, you know that I am wholly obsessed with The Deal and the Off-Campus series world in general, and so when this book was announced, I think I literally wanted to cry. So if you don't know, this is second generation. Wow, words. This is second generation. This is Garrett and Hannah's daughter, and I'm obsessed. I'm in love, and I cannot wait for the rest of the second generation books. Okay, this one, I feel like it's a little controversial, only in the sense that when the sequel came out, everyone liked that one better and I straight up DNF'd that one. So, Mild High by Liz Tomafort, I absolutely ate this book up. Like, I was obsessed. And then I got to The Right Move and I like couldn't even get past 100 pages. So the Mile High will always be superior to me. I still have yet to read the third one, which is Caught Up, but that is on my list for 2024, so we will see how I do that with that one. And I'm considering going back to read The Right Move, but you know, once like you DNF a book, you just like don't want to go back. Like, I've DNF'd it and I've just come to the conclusion that I'm not gonna like it. Am I being a little stubborn about it? Probably. Will I change my mind and read it? Probably not, but here's hoping. Okay, the next one is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Backstory. I never planned on reading this book literally ever because my friend she read it and she loved it, and I was like, that's not the vibe, like that is not for me. Wrong. I was wrong. I can admit when I was wrong, and I was dead wrong because this book was amazing. I literally just got done rereading it because Ruthless Vows comes out when you're watching this, probably today, and I literally love this book so much. And I think it's considered a historical like fantasy, but I loved it. And I will never stop thinking about Iris and Roman, and I need Ruthless Vows literally immediately. And I'm counting down the days, the hours, because the second one is almost here. So this is your sign, if you haven't read the first one, to go read it and then go read the second one, because I know I'm going to love that one too. And that's all I gotta say about that. The next one is another book that I really thought that I wasn't going to like, especially because my friend read it first and she was like, oh, this might not be your cup of tea, but when I tell you, I loved it. And I think that's rare for me because I think I used to be a romance girl to my core, so if it's more fiction-y, if it's more like fiction rather than romance, then I like don't like it. But this one, Happy Place by Emily Henry, was done so well, and I related to this book hardcore. You know when like someone writes something and you feel like you've been seen? Yeah, I felt seen reading this, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. And I cannot wait for Funny Story that's coming out, I think, in April. So again, this is your sign to never judge a book by its cover, and two, that reading is subjective, because you could think you not like something, or someone can tell you you won't like it, and you could still love it. So, Happy Place. Okay, this one's another big series. It's only 3 pages, it's only 3 books, but the books, those said 3 books are like 500 pages each. Let me start off by saying that I read The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, that little duology, and I loved it, so I'm gonna put that here. I did read it on my Kindle, but I don't have the physical copies to show you, but I did love those books. Chef Kiss. Then I moved on to the War of Lost Heart trilogies by Carissa Broadbent, and I was intimidated by this series, obviously, like look how thick these books are. I could have read them on my Kindle, but I wanted the physical copies, so I like kind of got over my fear and I read the trilogy, and I was absolutely obsessed. And I know one day I'm gonna want to read all 3 of these books again, even though they're like literally the size of bricks and could like actually hurt somebody. But nonetheless, we have Daughter of No Worlds, which is book number 1. We have Children of Fallen Gods, which is book 2. And then the last one was Mother and Death and Dawn, and this one is like the real kicker. Like this one is the thickest one, and I loved. So all three of those, the whole trilogy is just chef's kiss, and I will never stop talking about it. And then the last series is The Boys of Tommen by Chloe Walsh. So I read Binding 13 and Keeping 13 in 2022, and then I reread them in 2023 because Saving 6 and Redeeming 6 came out. And if you guys don't know, Binding 13 and Keeping 13 were Shannon and Johnny, and Saving 6 and Redeeming 6 is Shannon's older brother Joey and his girlfriend. I say Alfie, but I know it's Effa in the books, but I always pronounce it wrong. Like, you can never convince me to pronounce it the way it's actually pronounced. But Saving 6 and Redeeming 6 in these books, let me just say they're painful. They're not happy books at all. Like, there's no happiness in these books whatsoever. They're like gut-wrenching, but like in the best way possible. So like if you can handle that, then you should really read these, because I love them, and they kind of just like alter your brain chemistry in a way. Like you read it and like you can never unread the quotes in these books. And that is all of my 2023 favorites. These are all the books I rated 5 stars in the year of 2023. And yeah, if you got anything from this video, please read one of those 10-15 books. I don't know, I can't count, so I don't know how many, but go read them, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.